Hi everyone, this is Ms. Fisher, and this is a video to help you with the code.org Unit 7 Lesson 2, Functions with Parameters and Return Investigate. So in class, we talked about navigating to Lesson 2, Bubble 2, and examining the calculate function definition. So we saw that the parameter variable is called symbol, and the data type is a string. So now we want to see how many times is the calculate function called, what lines is it called, and what are the arguments each time. So if we take a look here, and as we said before, here is the calculate function definition. The parameter is called symbol, and it is a string, and it's going to return a string, which is the answer, the local variable answer will be returned. And let's take a look at the rest of the program. In the on events, we can see it is called on 3 times, right? And then the parameters, in this case, when we actually call on the function, we call this input, what is going to be the parameter, we call it the argument. So the first time it's called is line 2, calculate with the string, and then it's got a plus symbol. Then we have it in line 6 with the minus, and then line 10 with the times. Okay, so here it is called 3 times, and it's called with at lines 2, 6, and 10. And the parameters, the arguments are going to be calculate, and then we have the plus symbol. And then we've got, after that, we have the minus and then the times. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste this. Okay, the second time it's called is with a string that's got the minus. And the third time it's called, it's got a string with the times. Yeah, the asterisk. Okay. Okay, and these are called the arguments. Okay, that is the parameter. When you actually call on it, the parameter is called an argument. That's another name. So what is the name of the local variable that stores a value that is returned? Well, we mentioned this just a minute ago. If you take a look, we've got this local variable answer, and we can see that we've got this first conditional statement, an if, else, checking to see what the symbol is, and if it's a plus sign, we're going to add the numbers, minus we'll subtract, and times will multiply. And then at the very end, we're going to check if it's even or odd, and concatenate the answer to all these strings, and so it's going to end up as one long string that will be returned. And so the local variable is called answer, and the data type is originally, when it's first assigned, it's actually a number, because number 1 and number 2, if you take a look, it's a get number. So at this point, lines 23 through 27, answer is a number data type. But then when you go down to line 39, it is now assigned to a string. Okay, it is what was currently in answer. It's concatenated with this the number and the string, and so therefore this entire thing becomes a single string which will be returned. Okay, so this is a string, and it actually states that in the comments here, return a string data type. All right, now let's talk about the modulo operator, and we see this percent sign in the code. And it actually signifies this operation, which we haven't talked about, but you may have heard of before. And when you've got 2 numbers with the modulo operator in between, you're going to divide the first number by the second number, and then the return is going to be the remainder. So in this case, 7 divided by 2 is 3 remainder 1, so 7 mod 2 is equal to 1. 11 mod 4 is equal to 3 because 11 divided by 4 is 2 with a remainder of 3. Okay, and so let's take a look at the code here. if you take a look at this part of the code, lines 32 through 35, this is an if-else statement. So if you divide by 2 and the remainder is 0, we know that the answer at that point, it's a number data type, is even, right? And like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, divide by 2, you have no remainder. So that would mean that the label here would be set to the answer is an even number. And if you divide by 2 and it's not equal to 0, then you know it's going to be an odd number. Okay, so right here, you're going to go ahead and answer these questions. So let's do a couple of these together. Okay, letter A, and I'm going to do letter C with y'all. Okay, so 11 mod 2, what you're going to do is just divide, and you've got 11 divided by 2 is equal to 5, and then here you have a remainder of 1. So this is actually equal to 1, okay? Now, that's letter A. The answer is 1. Letter C, we had 2 mod 4. This one is a little trickier to think about because 2 is a dividend. It goes inside the house. 4 goes outside the house, okay? How many times does 4 go into 2? Well, it goes in 0 times, and therefore the remainder is 2. So in this case, 2 mod 4 is going to be equal to 2, okay? So 4 goes into 2 0 times, and then there's a remainder of 2, all right? So that's going to be your answer for letter A and C, and I'm going to let you do B, D, and E on your own. All right, and then in number 6, I'm also going to let you do that part on your own. You're going to describe, and we basically went over each part of the function already, how it works. At the very beginning, you declare 3 variables, local variables. The first 2 variables are going to get the number from the input, okay, from the user. And answer is going to store basically the result of the operation. So using an if else statement, you're going to check what the symbol is equal to, and then assign answer to the corresponding result based on that operation, either add, subtract, or multiply. And then you're going to check to see using mod 2 if you get a 0 in an if-else statement. If the remainder is 0 after you divide by 2, then you're going to set the text to be that the answer is an even, and then else it will be odd. Then you're going to concatenate the number and the symbol together, and then display the answer, and you will set text back to blanks at the very top. So when you run, and then you've got, say, 6 and 3, and you add, this disappears, right? That's what the very bottom of the function definition does, lines 41 and 42. And then we added the number 6 plus 3 is 9 because we had the plus. And then this whole, 9 is odd, right? And so you display the answer is an odd number. And then you concatenate number 1, white space, and then the symbol, white space, and then 3, white space, equal sign, and then the answer. Okay, and then you at the very end you return the string. So you're going to put that in your own words. All right. And then this last part, you are going to add a divide button in design mode. This is going to be worth 2 points. So I have a link for the image because it's not included as part of as one of the icons. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go into design mode and just move all of these buttons over a bit to make room for the divide. Then what's really nice is you can actually click on a button and duplicate, and then just click and drag that over. And remember that link? I'm going to go ahead and paste the link here, and you can see I now have a divide button. Okay, so I need an on event for the divide button, and I need to make sure I give it a meaningful name. So let's go back and change that button and call it divide button. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back to my code and click and drag an on event for the divide button. Okay, it's going to look very similar to the other on events here. We're going to do a set text, and we're going to choose output label. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and calculate. Okay, call on the function calculate, and then the parameter, the argument here, is going to be divide. So we can use the fraction bar to mean divide. Okay, and that is it. I need to put one more parentheses here, close parentheses. Okay, because this parentheses is for set text. So if you take a look at it in text mode, this is what it looks like. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and add some functionality to it, because this is not going to quite work the way it is. What's going to happen is we had this else, and if it's not going to add or subtract, you're going to multiply, and that's not what we want. So if I put here 8 and 2 and multiply, that's correct. But if I put an 8 and 2 and divide, that is not correct. Okay, we want it to actually divide and not multiply. So we need to change the code and the calculate function definition. So in this case, we're going to add another else if. And so we know that, oops, there we go. We know that if the symbol here, there we go. If the symbol is equal to, in this case, multiply, okay, we're going to go ahead and multiply here, right? The answer is going to be assigned number 1 times number 2. Otherwise, let's go ahead and now say that number 1, answer will be assigned number 1 divided by number 2, okay? And I think that is all we need to do here. So let's go ahead and reset and run. Okay. All right, and then let's go ahead and use the 8, 2, and then divide, and it does work as we expected. We can try 12 and 3. Okay, what about 12 and, let's try a repeating decimal. So if we had 4 and 3 and divide, you can see that because it's a repeating decimal, it truncates. And then this part doesn't quite work, right? It's neither even nor odd. It really just has to do with integers. It's a property of integers. So you may want to think about how to, revise your code. If it's not an integer and you don't want to display this message, okay, that would be something that you could extend this project and include code to handle that case as well. But for the your homework, you just have to make sure that the 4 operations work as we have in our program here. Okay. All right. I hope this was helpful. Let's just make sure you're going to go ahead and copy and paste the entire program here into this text box when you're done and submit. All right. Thanks a lot, and I will see you in class. Bye.